All right. Welcome everyone to session A. I am the moderator, Tanaya Bell, and this session is starting the conference off by highlighting three wonderful family study interns. Let's start with a little bit of housekeeping. This session is being recorded, and we ask that participants keep both your audio and video off during the presentation portion of the session. This will protect the bandwidth and hopefully prevent potential issues with lagging. We have several great interns to hear about, so let's get started. Our featured intern presenters are Toy Stavel, intern at the Community Outreach Program in Conroe, Texas; Jasmine Sutton, intern at YMCA of Pastel in Palestine, Texas. Sorry. Brianna Witherspoon, intern at Bucker Children and Families in Dallas, Texas. We will begin by viewing the video reports they have prepared for us, followed by a Q&A where we will be able to ask focused questions about their specific internship experience.
Everyone, my name is Toy
Works great. Thank
Stovell,
you.
and I had the opportunity to do my internship with Conroe ISD, working in their community outreach department. I quickly learned that there was three areas: um, dropout prevention, special populations, and attendance. I also learned that they all work together, and together they kind of form, I call, a super team. And I say that because they all work together um, to help bring resources, and they all have their own little part. Dropout prevention encourages family engagement. It also encourages student engagement. um, Special population deals with homeless families, um, especially Vento families. And then attendance deals with students who have chronic absences. And community outreach provides the resources needed to help all those different areas. Um, so, a day in the life of a community outreach intern, it really depended on where I was assigned for the day. So, if it was an admin day, um, I would come in, greet everyone, ask my supervisor, what was the plan for the day? What did she want me to do? And I would get whatever she wanted done. I would get that done. Sometimes that included office work. Sometimes it included doing things, little assignments on the computer. And then sometimes it included just listening in on phone calls when she'd talk to families, or listening to the attendance specialist when he was talking to families, or helping the McKenna-Vento specialist when she was talking to different families. Um, if it was a court day, I would get to the courthouse, whatever one, um, where the sorry, where court would be, and I would go to the assigned courtroom on a prep day, is what I called it. Um, it was more casual. There was no judge there yet, and it would just be the case manager, attendance specialist, and myself on the days that I could go. They would just go over the cases that were going to be coming up soon. If it was an actual court day, it was a little different because the judge would be there, an interpreter would be there, the parents would be there, the students would be there, and an officer. And that was on a court day. Now, a day at the closet, I call that a work day, a real, like, on the boots, getting work done, because that day required a lot of movement. Um, I would still greet everyone, ask what was the plan, and get it done. That would include sorting donations, getting rid of old donations, taking inventory of everything that was donated, putting it up, sorting it. Some of the items included hygiene products, school supplies, clothing, shoes, all the kind of things you would need if something happened and you needed just the basic items. My internship goal. My internship goal when I first started was to, really understand more about dropout and what caused dropout. And I quickly learned that it was more to it than just dropout. One of the things I quickly learned is that when students drop out, it's not for it's not just for because they just don't want to go to school. It's a reason behind it. And I really wanted to understand why. I want to understand what would cause a student to want to drop out. And I quickly learned that uh, in Conroe, the entire community outreach, that's what they do. Like it's all for that. Like there's the attendance person, attention specialist who makes sure that the students are aware of what's, they need to be in school. The parents need to know that they need to be in school. Then you have the McKinney-Vento slash homelessness uh, liaison that is saying, hey, look, if something happens, we're here to help. And then you have the dropout specialist who's also making sure that, you know, family engagement is key. So all of that together helped me get my goal, helped me learn more about my goal and reach my goal. Um, so I was really excited and happy about that because I feel like I reached my internship goal. Um, Two of the key artifacts. The first one is going to be the truancy court. I feel like as I was learning more about what was needed while in my internship, one of the things that I always would write down was parents are not aware, parents were not aware, parents are not aware. And I say that because a lot of times parents think that, you know, sending their child to school, if they go, they go, if they don't, they don't. But it's more to it than that. If you sign your child up for school, they don't go, that comes back on the parent. It affects the child, but it also affects the parent. The parent is also held legally, you know. So I wanted to create an artifact that would show the importance of that. And over here, I created one for McKinney Vento because McKinney Vento was one that really touched my heart. Um, it deals with unexpected things that come up in life. So like divorce, maybe your family member died in the military, a parent possibly in jail, maybe a windstorm happened and destroyed your home, like we had a few months ago, domestic violence, like all these different things that can come up and can cause a family to face homelessness. McKinsey Vento is a law that helps these parents get the resources that they need. So I wanted to create something that would be easier for a person to look at and say, oh, do I qualify? And if I do qualify, what's available to me? So that is what I came up with for those two. And those are the two I wanted to highlight the most. My reflection, I feel as if uh, community outreach, my time here with Conroe ISD has given me a new love for community outreach. I really wasn't sure um, what area. When I was assigned, I told Professor White I was okay with wherever she put me, and I feel like this opportunity has really given me a new love for community work. Um, I didn't understand the importance of it, and now I do. And it's an area that I want to continue to work in. I feel very confident. I feel as if I could go out in the world right now and get a job in community outreach. and it's something I would want to do. So I'm really grateful for my time in the community outreach department at Conroe ISD. Lastly, I would like to thank my supervisor, Ms. Castillo. She was amazing. In the morning time, I would ask her, okay, what are we doing today? And she would look at me and say, well, what do you want to learn today? What do you want to know more about? She challenged me, she made sure that I was getting an understanding of each area. She made sure that I got firsthand experience in each area. And I'm so appreciative of it because it really, sometimes you can, read things, but just having that in person experience changes everything. So I'm so grateful to her. I'm also grateful to my other instructors, Mr. Henry, and as well as Miss Maria. The entire team was awesome, amazing. Um, Thank you.
So this is my presentation on my internship for 2025 at the Palestinian YMCA. My name is Jasmine Sutton, and I serve as an after school care counselor. So, an overview of this program is the after school program gives school age kids an extra avenue to develop their cognitive, motor, and their social skills. It's a great outlet for children whose parents work a little later than typical school hours go. There are about 5 or 6 counselors to about, I would say, 40 kids on a day where we're full. Um, a day in the life at the after school program in the YMCA. As soon as school lets out, some schools let out at 3:30, some schools let out at 3, some schools let out at 3:35. We have about 2 different school districts, and then one school who's in the same district, but it's different than the main school district that come to this camp. So there's a variety of different schedules that the program accommodates. We typically start our dinner time at 4, and we allow the kids to eat from about 4 to 4:30, 4:45, typically no later than 4:50. We have groups by ages. We have 3 groups right now during the after school time. Um, those groups range from group 1 being 5 to 7 years old, group 2 being from 7 to 9 years old, and group 3 being from 9 to 12 years old. And 12 is when our children age out. After we break off into our groups, we have our activity time. We have a rock wall slash activity room where the children they can run, they can play foosball, they can play ping pong, they can play air hockey, or they can do a rock wall climb. These activities help build those motor and cognitive hand-eye coordination. Um, so we do that up until about 5:30. After 5:30, we begin to clean up the area that we're in. So other than the rock wall, we do have a an outside backyard where the children are allowed to play basketball, soccer, gaga ball. They're allowed to run. They're allowed to jump rope. We have lots of games and activities for them to do. We also will use the gym if outside is not an option for our kids. They are allowed to do the same things that they can do outside. Um, we do have a daily schedule that lets us know where we're going to be each day. And our last station that we have is the multi-purpose room. This is where we keep our arts and crafts, our card games, our board games, any games that we allow the kids to play inside, um, the coloring, the painting. We have uh, stimulation chairs and balls and all types of things for the kids to be able to use while they're in there. Because it's an enclosed space, sometimes it's hard for kids not to want to run around and jump and play. So, one of my strategic plan objectives that I had at the beginning of the semester was to learn how to assist in sensory and motor skill development. I achieved this by creating a game. I saw it during the holidays. A lot of families were playing it where they would put two different colors or two different numbers or something on each side of a line, and family members would stand on that line until they heard one side or the other side be called and they were to jump to that side. If they didn't jump to that side that was called or they didn't move, then they would be out. I remixed this game a little bit to be able to um, better accommodate my students. I work with all of the groups, but I work the most with group 3, which is ages 9 through 12. And so I would put two different colors and I would have my children jump from whatever side that I called. Sometimes I would go slow, sometimes I would go fast, sometimes I would double up on colors, just to help. This helped with a lot of different skills, their balance, their listening skills, their reaction times. So the way that I measured this is at the beginning of my internship, um, I had students. I picked 3 students, and I saw how many turns they could go before they would get out. My first student went 3 turns without getting out. They typically didn't last very long in the game, which a lot of my students at first did not last very long at the game, partially because it was new to them, and another is because they had to really get used to the game. Um, by March, when I remeasured, um, I had my first student going 6 turns instead of 3. So they doubled the amount of turns that they got to do. And they showed incredible improvement on how long they could stay in the game, how much they were listening. Um, and sometimes it was balance for the kids, is that their brain would tell them to jump one way, but it was hard for them to stay on that side. My second student at first was going 5 turns, and then at the end of March, they were going 11 turns. And my third student, which was actually a younger student who sometimes would be in my group with the older kids, started out at 3, and by the end of March was at 4. So these are the 2 lab artifacts that I chose. I chose my training that I did for CPR. I chose this because, for one, a CPR certification is a great certification to have, not only in my internship, but just in life in general. You could be anywhere and need life saving measures. So, this was one of the reasons that I chose this artifact. I value this certification outside of this. Another artifact that I chose was my personal development training. I have done a lot of training when it comes to working with children. I always love to refresh my brain um, on a lot of this stuff. And as time goes on, of course, new information is added, and you could never learn too much about being able to keep children safe. So, to me, this is why I chose this artifact as my second favorite. It's just because it's always helpful, not only again for my internship, but even with my own child. To me, the reflection part of my presentation was easy. I love my internship. I love what I do. This internship has really solidified that I know that I want to work with children. My best memory was when a camper asked me to be the subject of an assignment that they were doing, and it was about somebody that inspired them. It's always my mission whenever I go into my job or my internship to be an inspiration to somebody, whether it be an adult or a child, but to know that a child looks up to me and sees me as somebody that's inspirational really is important to me. So I am very thankful for this experience. I am thankful for the bonds that I've created with my children. I would like to send out an acknowledgement and thanks for my supervisor, Miss Sherry Gossett. She's the child care billing specialist and the after school and summer day camp director. She has been nothing short of spectacular since I have began my internship. She has been very understanding, very accommodating with everything that has happened with me having a child. Sometimes I don't always get to be there exactly when I have to be there. And she's very flexible with being able to reschedule my hours. It's important to her that I get my hours and that I get the best possible experience. So I really want to thank her. She's also offered me a job after my internship to be a summer day camp director. So I really want to thank her for this opportunity. I would also like to thank my my professor, Professor Janelle White, for being just as accommodating, just as understanding, just as flexible and accessible as um, I needed her to be. This has been a great experience, and I am thankful to have taken her this semester. Okay, that's all.
Hello, my name is Brianna Witherspoon, and I'm an intern at Buckner International at their Family Hope Center, and I'm the child care program intern there. So, a quick overview, I help out at the after school child care program. So, a few of the things that I did included assisting with the after school program for kids around 7 to 12 years old. And we did things like help with their homework, encouraged reading, we did activities, some educational, some not. We encouraged healthy eating habits during snack time, and we always made sure that they got some form of exercise, whether this was yoga, dancing, or playing outside, soccer, things like that. I also was in team meetings every single Monday. I got to feel what it's like to be part of a team. So that was nice as well. So, a day in the life. On Mondays, again, I attended the weekly team meetings and we would talk about the previous week, what went well, what we improve on, and then we talk about the upcoming weeks, plan for events, and discuss like the logistics of things. Um, and just share ideas. We had a devotional and prayer time, and those lasted about 2 hours or an hour and a half. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays were the child care program, after school child care program. So, of course, we worked with the children. And then again, we did the homework, had reading time, had snack, like the activity, and then a form of exercise. And then other days, uh, those days could be days where I had to go to like events and help out there, things that involve the community or clients of Buckner. So recently we had an Easter event. We invited the community to come to our center, and we had activities and food and things like that. So my lab artifact highlights. I really enjoyed making flyers. I liked being able to help out with that. My the child care coordinator, I was very thankful. So she didn't have to spend time on the flyers as much, and she could focus on programming and coming up with activities for the kids. So I got to create these. I don't speak Spanish, so she sent them to me in Spanish, and I created the flyer with the information that she provided. And yeah, it was just something I enjoyed doing because I like to be creative with that. And then my internship goal was to gain hands-on experience in the family support services by participating in programs that empower families and strengthens the community. And then my learning objective was to take part in a family support program, which I was able to do with the child care program there. And then the outcome was I achieved the learning objective, and I did this by, again, being part of the children's program and also getting to see families and meeting families and participating in events where families were involved in. So I definitely got a lot out of this program and benefited greatly from it. So I haven't had a job where I've been able to really be a part of a team or like have meetings. So that was really something I didn't think I would appreciate like I do. Um, Being able to participate and to feel important and valued, being a part of these meetings, getting to share my experiences with the team, getting to hear all types of different um, perspectives. I'm the only intern, but I get to work with the children's coordinator, the teens coordinator, and just all the different jobs that they have there. So it was great for me. That was a benefit, again, that I didn't think that I would have. Um, and of course, working with the children was amazing. It was by far my favorite part of the program or the internship. And just really being able to connect with the kids and really just having such a great time with that. So that's been really good for me. And I would like to acknowledge the site supervisor, Rebecca Hand. I'd actually only met her once, but she was really sweet. I, of course, want to recognize Martha Rodriguez. She's the center director at the Family Hope Center. Of course, I got to see her all the time, and she's amazing. And then Elizabeth, she is the children's coordinator, and I worked with her every single week, working with the kids. And she's the sweetest woman ever, and she's just got a lot of knowledge and clearly passionate about what she does in the working with kids and working with a nonprofit. So it's just been, again, amazing, and the team, every single person was just amazing. So Thank you.
Wow, great video reports. Now it's time to open up for a Q&A with the interns. Interns, please turn on your cameras now so we can see you. And we ask that all attendees keep your cameras off for the duration of this session so that we can focus on the interns. We also ask that all the attendees leave your microphones off unless you're asking a question. This will help keep any unexpected sounds from distracting the rest of the session. If you have a question for one of the interns, please use the raise hand feature and I will call on you to ask your question. The raise hand is found in the meeting toolbar to the left of the red leave button. You can also raise your hand by clicking Control, Shift, and K at the same time. If you would prefer to type your question, feel free to type in the session chat and I will read it to the interns. Before we begin, I want to remind everyone that this session is being recorded. Rivera, you have a question?
Hi, good morning. Yes, I have a question for Toy. Toy? Got it. I saw it in the chat. Okay. Um, I still can't hear her, but I can type the question in the chat. Yes? Okay. Let me go ahead and type the question in the chat. I'm sorry.
And while she's typing her question in the chat, I overskipped a step. So I'll start off the question and answers, the Q&A with a question for Toy. Something that you learned during your internship that was unexpected. It looks like we have a couple of people typing something in the chat. Awesome. One of the questions says, you mentioned you went to court and heard like 18 cases. Did you have to talk in front of a judge? I would have been nervous if I did. Nicolette says hello to your little cutie over there. Okay, and Toy's response to my question was that so many parents in CISD are not aware of all of the resources available to them through the community outreach. And to answer your question, Rivera, her response was they made it very casual for the kids. I did not speak to the judge. I sat in the jury section. The judge was very nice to the students. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it because as a student, that can be very nervous to have to stand in front of a judge, especially if your parents already had to kind of speak this into you. This is serious. You know how we are as parents when we're in this situation. We definitely have to advise them how to act in order for that setting. Okay, and as the questions are continuing to roll in, do we have any of the other interns on here? No, just Toy. Toy, you're the lucky one. Got another question for you. So, did your internship change how you viewed society? It looks like Toy might be expanding on her reply, I assume. I learned that parents are not stepping up to be firm with their children and allowing them to do what they want. These new age parents are probably doing that because we couldn't get away with that when I was a child for sure. So I can see that also being a true statement. I kind of think about that when I'm trying to parent my two kids. What would my parents do? Now, what do I want to do? But what would they do? We'll ask one more question before we wrap it up, or maybe two more questions. What was the hardest part of your internship? Thank you, Nicolette. I was nervous. The hardest part was trying to navigate everything. I learned from an entire department and how to learn how to break all the information down. Okay, and our last question for you, Toy, since you're the only intern left, is what advice would you give to future interns? And thank you, Nicolette. I got dressed up for y'all, especially after she said the cameras would be on. Huh. It looks like Toy is just responding. When taking your classes, figure out what area you would like to learn from the most and try to be assigned there. It's easier when it is in an area you already have an interest in. I think that is great advice, Toy, because if it's something that you're not interested in, then it may not be something that you want to continue, especially for 160 hours. So, with that being said, that is awesome advice. And it looks like we have a couple more comments rolling in, and then we'll wrap up. And also be open and ready to learn. Those are definitely some great advice that you provided to them. And it looks like we are out of time for this session. Thank you to all of our participants for asking great questions. And big thanks you to our wonderful presenters for sharing their internship experience with us. When I end this session, you will be back at the website where you originally entered the session. I encourage you to review the conference schedule, then join us in the next session. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope to see you in the next session.